Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Salsabila Inarotussofa. I'd like to talk to you today about why cultural appropriation is a problem. First of all, I will explain about what is cultural appropriation and giving the examples of cultural appropriation. I'll continue by giving the reason of why cultural appropriation is a racist and make a problem. And to finish, I'll giving the conclusion. The first thing I will explain about what is cultural appropriation. In the broader sense, cultural appropriation is the adoption or taking of specific elements such as ideas, symbols, artifacts, images, art, rituals, icons, behavior, music, and style of one culture by another culture. Essentially, cultural appropriation is the borrowing or stealing of the intellectual property of an entire culture and use it as one's own without recognizing or understanding the history, meaning behind, or correct usage of it. Cultural appropriation throws on stereotypes about a culture, often one that include members who have faced oppression by the dominant culture or the one exploiting elements of the minority culture. For example, white Western cultures who have a long history of oppressing black culture also have a history of appropriating elements of black culture. In this case, I will give the examples of cultural appropriation by several celebrities. The first case showed up about Carly Close, the model that wearing war bonnets at the Victoria's Secret runway show in 2012. War bonnets are feather headsets traditionally worn by male leaders of the American Plains Indians Nation who have earned a place of great respect in their tribe. Originally, they were sometimes worn into battle, but they are now primarily used for ceremonial occasions. The second case showed up about Kim Kardashian that using cornrows hairstyle at the 2018 MTV movie. Cornrows are a hairstyle of hair braiding in which the hair is braided very close to the scalp, using an underhand upward motion to make a continuous rise row. Cornrows are often done in simple, straight lines, as the term implies, but they can also be styled in elaborate geometric or curvilinear design. Cornrows are a hairstyle originated from Africa. And the third case showed up about Selena Gomez that wearing a bindi in a performance at the MTV Movie Awards. Bindi is a colored dot worn on the center of the forehead. It is an ancient tradition in Hinduism and has religious significance. It is also sometimes referred to as the third eye and the flame, and it is an auspicious religious and spiritual symbol. We've seen the explanation and the examples of cultural appropriation. Now, let's look at the reason why cultural appropriation is a racist and make a problem. The first reason is it continues the oppression of the non-dominant culture. When we look at a culture that's experiencing oppression, it's often a result of colonization, where a dominant group has claimed ownership of the land and its people. When the dominant group continues to steal aspects of the non-dominant culture, it continues the economic oppression and disadvantage of that culture. In Australia, there are cases where white Australian businesses have stolen Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander artworks for use on t-shirts and souvenirs. This allows the dominant culture to make money from the non-dominant culture without benefiting the original artists. The second reason is it doesn't give people credit for their own culture. Cultural appropriation also has a nasty habit of giving the dominant group credit for aspects of a culture that they have taken, reinforcing the power imbalance between the two groups. For example, Kylie Jenner was credited with starting an edgy new hair trend, while black actress Zendaya faced criticism for wearing her hair at the same way. What's interesting about this is that Zendaya's natural hair was seen as a negative, but Kylie Jenner, a person with no ties to black culture, was given credit for taking something that wasn't hers. And the last reason is it creates stereotypes. Cultural appropriation often adds to stereotypes faced by non-dominant cultures. The Native American chief, the Japanese geisha, or the Arab sheikh can be examples of stereotypes that pop up during Halloween. When people from dominant cultures dress up like this, it reduces something of cultural significance to a costume just so that the dominant group can have a bit of fun. It also keeps this kind of stereotypes going, and when cultures have been oppressed, stereotypes often add to their negative experiences. So, in conclusion, maybe some of us thought that it doesn't make sense for cultural appropriation to be racist, but for non dominant culture, cultural appropriation can offend and take away what is their strange, especially if it used in an incorrect way. Therefore, we must be careful in doing something, especially when it comes to other cultures. Okay, that's all from me. Thanks for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.